Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning as I get all of my THs out. What up, Clark?
Who you with?
Hey, man. Right out?
What's going on, brother?
I don't know, brother. You tell me, brother. What's happening?
Hey, sun is shining.
Sunshine. Oh, blue skies. Oh, man. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the program. We'll have Alderwoman Milele Coggs joining us in this first segment of the program. I don't know if I want to do it this way, but maybe I should. I'll put it out here and then we'll pick it up after our conversation with Alderwoman Cox. All right. Here is today's question. Today's question: should Democrats allow a partial government shutdown over ICE activities in Minneapolis? This moment is less about party politics and more about how far a nation will go to demand accountability for justice. Right now, some Democrats are signaling that they're willing to risk a partial shutdown unless immigration enforcement reforms are tied to funding, including these things like body cameras, ID requirements, stronger use of force rules, rules of engagement, especially after the deadly ICE incident in Minneapolis. Um, the question, or a couple of questions: are Democrats being more performative, or is there any chance that the changes they seek for Homeland Security will even happen, even with the threat of a partial shutdown? Shutdowns are blunt tools. They can disrupt essential services, may not even stop immigration enforcement directly because ICE has funding streams that they can keep parts of their operation going even during a shutdown. We saw the collateral impact from the last shutdown that we had just last year. And politically, both parties are locked in a standoff over DHS funding tied to the fallout from the Minneapolis shootings, raising the real possibility of a partial shutdown if no compromise is reached. But in my mind, the real question is, should Democrats allow a shutdown? But rather, no, the real question I have is, should Democrats allow a shutdown? But rather, what is the moral cost of funding injustice? And what is the human cost of shutting down government? Justice movements have always wrestled with this tension: apply pressure, risk collateral consequences, avoid, avoid disruption, risk normalizing harm. Um, if a shutdown is used, I don't think it should be used for political theater. It should be about forcing moral accountability. If it's avoided, it should not be about comfort. It should be about protecting people while still demanding reforms. And so that's the question. Should the Dems really force a shutdown in order to get some of these changes and put pressure on ICE in terms of how ICE is informing? Now, one of the real issues here that really complicates this is that all the money that ICE got at that last so-called big beautiful bill, and I think their budget, Homeland Security, that budget is immense in terms of people being able to do it. I did get a chance to watch Tom Homan this morning, and like I said yesterday, you can make a cosmetic change, but there would be no substantive changes. They're looking for an off ramp, one, to be able to decrease the number of ICE agents there, to change the narrative. That's why you have where Mr. Preddy, in an interaction he had with Homeland Security prior to it, and they're showing that tape where he kicked out a headlight and then, but they didn't arrest him, and he had a gun on him when that happened. So they are trying to change that narrative. Um, uh, and when you look at, and I think she should go. There's no question that Kristi Noem should really go. But I don't think people should give Donald Trump a pass. You know, he can always throw a rock and then hide his hand. You know, that he's gifted at that. And so he's letting them take the fall. Um, oh, okay. Now the budget provided um, for the 2026 fiscal year, which started October 1st of 2025, for Homeland Security is $63.6 billion. Well, which is now they said is 1.4 billion or 2.2% decrease from the fiscal year 25 net discretionary funding. They have a lot of money. And so that they'll be able to do things even if there was a budget shutdown. But here's the thing, it impacts obviously on people who are receiving SNAP benefits. Also, the impact it'll have on FEMA. And FEMA is not in a position right now where, especially what you're seeing going on in Mississippi, Tennessee, I think parts of Texas, but Tennessee and Mississippi, they still don't have power in Oxford, Mississippi. So, FEMA at this point is really needed. They were getting ready to lay off FEMA personnel, and then the storm Fern hit, and so then they delayed laying folks off. So we'll see what happens with that. So that's the question. Should the Dems really force a shutdown over this whole ICE thing? I shouldn't say ICE thing. In terms of how ICE and Border Patrol is in. And here's the thing about Border Patrol. It's supposed to be, they're not supposed to be operating more than 100 miles from a border. And Minneapolis is, I think they're about 300 miles from the Canadian border, which is not really a border that we have issues with. When people were talking about the amount of fentanyl that comes across the border, and they said that they found something that was this incredibly small amount of fentanyl that was coming across the border from Canada. So, caller, welcome to the program.
Excuse me. Am I there now?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ryder. Good morning, Milwaukee. I got some medical stuff for you, but how'd you want me? Did you want to give me my medical stuff first? Or, I got somewhat of an answer for this where your question goes, but it goes back to what I said the other day about governors. Each state, like you said, depending on the state there, are the governors going to be involved in, whether it gets shut down or if it moves forward? Because, it impacts each and every state. So what are the governors saying? With all that power sitting there, crickets, like I said, Evers on down, East Coast to West Coast, crickets. Ain't no governor saying nothing. So what's up? What's up with the position from Tony Evers on down the list?
Well, I think it would depend on the state.
Well, we said that, yeah.
And I don't know. To be very honest with you, it was a calculated blunder for what they did when they surged all of those resources to Minneapolis, people not trained to deal with, because the border is a different animal, right? At the border, you're dealing with folks like, you're talking now basically like urban law enforcement, and they're not there to enforce the law. They're there primarily to supposedly round up people, criminals.
Right, absolutely. Okay, but let's take it further then. You're talking about the shutdown. If it's just, it's not confined to just Minnesota. We're talking Atlanta and Chicago.
Everybody's impacted.
So yeah, everybody's impacted. So it's not that's what I said. Depending on the state, but whether it's Democrat or Republican, because it's almost time for them to start putting their ticket together too. It's almost like telepathy, because I was thinking about this as I was up reading some old material between midnight and sunrise this morning. And that's where my medical stuff comes from that I got for you today too. But I wanted to, since you put that out there, I was just going to say, well, we're kind of where we are because what's her name there? Hillary Clinton stubbed her nose at us. She didn't come see us. She didn't come talk with us. So, you don't want to come see us and talk with us, then, back at you, middle finger to you.
Let me ask you a question on that, seeing we're going back.
It is what it
10
is.
years. But hold on, D. So, did you vote for Barack Obama?
I did both times.
Okay.
But then again, I voted for.
Let me ask you the question.
Okay,
hold on.
okay.
Let me ask you the question. So you voted for Barack Obama twice.
Yep.
Would you still have voted for Barack Obama if he didn't come to Wisconsin?
I was listening to what he had to say.
Would you still vote for Barack Obama had he not come to Wisconsin?
still, his message was clear.
Huh?
I said his message was clear.
So Hillary's message was clear.
Yeah,
My
but
question
still,
is,
like,
if you hold it against her
no,
that she
no,
didn't
no, no,
come
no,
to
no, no.
Wisconsin,
You're mixing
and
apples
most of
and
us
oranges
didn't
now.
realize she hadn't been in Wisconsin until after the election. But I'm asking, so if Barack Obama didn't come to Wisconsin in 2008 and 2012, would you still voted for him?
I probably would have. I already
So
said
why
that.
are you holding her to a different standard
I'm
than you would hold
simply
Barack
saying
Obama?
We're in the place that we are now because a lot of people took issue to that, though. I mean, you can't call it what it's not.
Well, so I'm asking, why do we take issue with that if it was something bigger, i.e., making sure Donald Trump doesn't become president?
I can't answer everybody's.
But I'm asking you.
But I just like I voted for Biden and Harris.
Okay, but what I'm asking though is, you said that one of the things was Hillary Clinton didn't come to Wisconsin.
Right, she snubbed us. Right.
Right, and I'm asking, and I don't know how often Barack Obama came to Wisconsin when he ran.
Well, but
my question is, would it have made a difference if we found out Barack Obama never came to Wisconsin? Would you still have voted for him?
I mean, but I remember him showing up at Red Arrow Park. I can't say all the times that he did show up, but at least he did come, and his message.
So that's
was
why
clear.
you voted for him, because he showed up at Red Arrow Park?
No. Yeah, see, don't put words in my mouth.
No, so then I'm asking.
Clear.
But you brought up that Hillary Clinton didn't come to Wisconsin.
Right.
And that was a factor for some folks.
It certainly was.
So, but I'm asking for you, was it a factor?
It had something to do with it, because it's like, well,
so why she held to a different standard than Barack Obama?
No.
They both, in terms of policy, they were the same.
But still, okay, well, Keith, it's like this here. But, I mean, what are you going to do as a party then? Are you going to continue to play games, or are you going to try to move the party forward? That's what I'm getting at. I'm not playing this cat and mouse game.
Well, let me do this. Hey, let me do this, T. We can pick this up after 9:30, because actually I have a caller.
Okay, and I got my medical stuff for you though too.
Okay,
though.
all right.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Is that Alderwoman Coggs? Okay, well oh, she's coming in. Oh. Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Oh man, we cleared the phone lines. We heard you was calling. Oh man, it's so good to see you. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Oh my. I'll let her get set. Why don't we come off, and y'all can take us off video, and why don't we do a quick break? That'll work. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. And as you might have heard before the break, we're joined in the studio by Alderwoman Milele Coggs. Again, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you again. And you're here to talk about the Milwaukee Business Now Entrepreneurship Summit. Tell us a little bit about what was the genesis of that, and how do we 14 years later, how do we get to this point?
14 years ago, I was having meeting after meeting after meeting with small business owners or people with business ideas. I used to do a little bit of business consulting before I got elected. So the consultant in me was giving people all kind of information and connecting them to both city resources and community resources that I was aware of. But it was a lot. And I thought about what is a bigger way that I could help to get resources to small business owners, not one by one, but in a larger form. So 14 years ago, myself and my staff and some folks at the city came up with the MK Business Now Entrepreneurship Summit, where it's a day long from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at MLK School on King Drive and Ring. We have about 25 to 30 vendors. Those vendors are everything from city departments like licensing to banks to organizations that may give out grants and things of that nature for small businesses. And then we also do 3 workshops on everything from how to finance your business to technology that you could be using to advance your business. To how you get city contracts and city stuff. Then we have a keynote speaker this year. Our keynote speaker is Robert Piles, and he'll be interviewed by Miss Chantel McKenzie Forbes. And then we have a panel discussion of 5 local successful small business owners, and it'll be MC as well. So however you get your information, whether you want to just talk directly to the organization or department with the vendors, or whether you need to sit in a classroom and kind of receive it, like teacher student, or whether you need to hear from other people's lived experience. That's what we have the keynote and the panel discussion for. But however you receive your information is definitely information for business owners or people who aspire to be business owners. So that's where it came from. I'm a believer that the days of we're going to attract these companies that have tens of thousands of jobs and are kind of behind us. I think we're kind of the future is built on small businesses, businesses with 50 employees or less. So we have to figure out ways to help support the growth and retention of the small businesses that we have. And this entrepreneurship summit is one small way that I do that. But I wouldn't be able to do it without the sponsorship of the city of Milwaukee, the MLK bid, and the African American Chamber of Commerce.
Well, 14 years ago, we were just having this conversation. So that would have put us in 2012?
Yeah.
Am I doing the math right? Now, has it always been at King? It hasn't.
No, for the last several years it has been, but prior to that, I always try all my events. I try to put them in the community, near a bus line, and right where the people who need it the most could easily access it. So prior to it being at King, it was at what is now St. Marcus School on First and Barlisle. I think that's where we did the first one, and then for several years it was at Andrew Douglas on 18th Street. For a while,
I attended both those schools. King was Berger, and Douglas was Parkman.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
So what are there? And this is kind of a softball question, but there obviously are challenges, right? There's opportunity, but there's also challenges when people are trying to become entrepreneurs, right?
There definitely are challenges. And we try to build like the workshops and kind of who we pick for the panels around tools, resources, and people who've had those same challenges and what they've used to overcome them.
You have one of the chambers, African American Chamber. So what type of resources would they offer in terms of people?
Oh, I can't speak to all that they offer. I know they just gave away a few $1 million worth of grants because they had, I think they were giving some ARPA dollars from the state. I
Okay.
think it was like 5 million.
Okay.
But I might be misspeaking. But they will be there on Saturday, to discuss all of the offerings they still have moving forward. So yeah, they definitely. Be there.
You mentioned there are people from the city, so is that for people who might want to bid on contracts that the city might let?
So there are definitely people there who can talk about city contracting. There will also be like the licensing department. So if you want to open a bar or you have to get a tow license for your tow business, that kind of thing, that department will be there as well as the Department of City Development. So it's a few city departments that can talk about the range of business stuff that those particular types of businesses have to get, the approvals they have to get from the city.
Do people need to pre-register for this?
There is an e-bike that's out virtually, but it's not a requirement. We just ask when people come in that they register at the table if they have not pre-registered.
So again, the Milwaukee Business Now Entrepreneurship Summit, Saturday, January 31st, 10 a.m. to 2:30 at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School, 3275 North 3rd Street in Milwaukee. And again, this is the 14th annual, and the keynote this year is our colleague, Reverend Piles, Pastor Piles,
Yeah.
the business pastor.
Yeah.
No better. I think that's so appropriate
Yeah.
on two levels, because I don't know, obviously his business acumen, what he's done in his business, but I think a lot of people miss that putting together a church
Yeah.
there's business principles there too. So in terms of that, do you have a phone number if people want more information?
If people want more information, they can call my office at 414-286-2994. Once again, that's 414-286-2994.
Alderwoman Milele Coggs, again, the Milwaukee Business Now Entrepreneurship Summit this Saturday, January 31st from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School, 3275 North 3rd Street in Milwaukee. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Hope to see people Saturday.
You want to bring us off? And huh? Yeah, he can bring us off video if he can.
Hey, Clark. Yeah, we're gonna do like the hard breaks and take about videos.
Yeah, okay, as we sit here doing all our technical talk right over the air. Well, Sarah Seidner this morning was doing a live. She was in Minneapolis on one of the skywalks. She's doing a live thing. So on her monitor, she's reading this thing.
Yeah.
It came off. They put the shot on her, and you could see her going. One of those rare live television moments. Alderwoman, thank you. We listen to Community Break. Community Break.
Community break.
We'll take a voice and we'll be we'll be right back. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, man. And for all you Facebook and tune in, got it. Facebook, YouTube, man, y'all just moved, y'all missed the groove. But all you folks on terrestrial and tune in, you got it. You got it. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. I know Tyrone W. had talked about this whole thing with Hillary Clinton and the fact that she did show up. I think that I hate that we relitigating the 2016 election, but I think a lot of it was for some people she was a woman. I think that there was an element out there that was able to tie her into the crime bill, and where, I mean, I understand it, but where her husband was enormously popular in the Black community, not so much with her. And I think, but so when I asked him the question, so Barack Obama probably would have never, you know, if he never stepped foot in Wisconsin, would you still voted for him? And she said, yeah. So my question is, why is there a different standard that we have for women? And even with Kamala Harris, you know, there was a different standard there. And, you know, people tried to cite when she was just doing her job as Attorney General, she was locking up Black men. Were they committing crimes? Come on, man. I mean, you, and then people will take that. I've been listening to this whole debate about what's happening up in Minneapolis, and one of the throw points that Republicans have is they'll go, "Oh, so you're for open borders?" No, nobody ever said we was from open borders. But if I disagree with your tactics, it does not mean, because first of all, your tactics, it is not even near the border. So yeah, I might have an issue with your tactics. That doesn't mean, but my guy one day, we were having a conversation, and a Republican guy, and he was getting frustrated with me, and he goes, "Keith, do you love America?" Sure, I love America, but that doesn't mean that I'm down with some of the nonsense I see happening in America. I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's like you're in a relationship. You love the person you're in a relationship with. That don't mean that there ain't no problems, that there's some things there that you might have a problem with the other person. So, caller, welcome to the program.
First of all, I want to say good morning.
Good morning.
Everybody keep talking about this border. Well, why you ain't talking about them 600,000 white Europeans here that's effing the welfare system? Y'all ain't talking about them other people with Shirley Temple Curls, and they sure tap dancing like Freddie Davis Jr. and Elvis Presley on some welfare, and y'all ain't talking about that. And then y'all keep bringing up immigration. Them people ain't taking nothing from y'all. Y'all ain't picking no fruit. You ain't doing no rough. You barely want to pick up them Coke 45 cans around your house. Then you want to bring up the 94 crime bill. The way y'all raise some of your kids, trust me, them niggas should have been there way before 94. And all them people under the 94 crime bill was not innocent. So why y'all keep picking up, then they're putting people in jail? Well, you know what? If you're selling, I think you need to go, because obviously your mama and daddy ain't taught you nothing. Oh, that stolen car you got you where she taking you to Fast and Friendly to get your meat deal or build a butcher? But everybody want to talk about that. And then here we go. Oh, they're in my neighborhood. You're not even fixing up your own neighbor. You're barbecuing on the front porch. That's a code violation. You're parking your car on the front yard when it's supposed to be on gravel and concrete, which is a code violation. So why the hell you care about some immigration? Have a good day. Bye-bye.
He said you barbecued on the front porch.
Code
violation.
I didn't know there was an ordinance, because there are some people out there, boy. I mean, they got like 2-3 grills on the front porch. Oh, man.
That's hilarious.
Did he?
Ain't lying about the porch.
Did he say Freddie Davis Jr.?
There's like Sammy Davis Jr.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Dude, that dude is funny.
Good morning.
Hey man, I can't believe that y'all entertain that buffoonery. That's pure buffoonery.
No,
Okay?
no,
And the
no.
brother, hold on, man. The
Your
brother
point.
talking bad about his own people, and he talking about the '94 crime bill. Let me educate him. The '94 crime bill has not been repealed. It's still in effect, and it's waiting.
But his point, Meech, was that the majority of
in the wrong
but the
situation,
majority of
and they're gonna
people.
jam him. The '94 crime bill was not repealed. Joe Biden had a chance to come in and apologize to the black community and repeal it right there. But you know what? He didn't. So therefore, we're still facing our communities with Haida right now, right today, Haida and Hefta, okay, for money crimes. But anyway, that ain't what I call for. But all that, and then
Wait a minute, hold on.
it's like entertainment to you.
It is, man. And that's
Accusations that brother makes.
oh, come on, man. But first of all, you call
Hey
it.
man, no, it's not funny, man. When it comes
Well,
down to real life, man, and
it
people that
might
people that
not
have
be
been
funny, but
victims.
it might not be funny, but he was on point. The point that he's
The
making.
man ain't on point.
Well, can I make?
Should have been everybody wasn't guilty in the 95. Let me first of all, I don't even know how old the man is to even have
But let me
experience.
say this, Meech. Let me say this. Okay. There's something called a disparate impact. That's a word that they use. If you go to critical race theory and you read that, you hear disparate impact all the time. What is a disparate impact? You have a good intention for a bill. We were dealing with a heightened level of crime. We were dealing with a heightened level of crime related to drugs. And so even members of the Congressional Black Caucus had to do something. There's a book out there. No, don't tell me to hold on because I listened to you. There's a book out there by a brother named James Foreman called Locking Up Our Own. He talks about the impact of that. But
I read the book.
Al's
And most of it doesn't come from the point of view of a Negro that did 33 years in the penitentiary and come home.
Meech.
Okay.
The point that
one of the man is from is looking at it from a whole different aspect. But go ahead.
But here's the point. It isn't like the dudes or the women. Many of them are not innocent. The question becomes the severity. The question becomes the severity of the punishment. Now that's a different thing. But to act as if these folks
that ain't even.
act as if
the severity of it doesn't mean anything.
First of all,
no, you have to look at it that it was systemically designed. See, let me explain something to you, man.
Okay.
First of all, they had to deplete some programs to make this successful. Okay, they had to deplete some things and make some things available to make that incarceration piece even work. There were things that had to be moved out of the way.
Well, one of the things that make it work is somebody somebody has to commit a crime.
Listen, okay, let me give you an example. In the 80s. And this ain't even what I call for, man. You done took me down a rabbit hole. You did this on purpose to sidetrack me from where you was at with the Minnesota ice thing.
No, but
anyway,
you started off. Wait a minute. You came in. No, you came in responding to Al. You responded to us, responding to Al. Then you brought up the crime bill.
It was over at that point.
I'm what?
It was. I thought it was dead at that point. I thought it was mute at that point.
Oh, okay, but you kept talking about it. All right, go on.
Because I was calling about the Minneapolis deal, really.
Okay.
Because the crime thing, you don't really want to. I mean, if you want to be educated with that, then we can have that conversation, and it can be fact checked.
Okay, so what's your issue?
That's why I do reform fellow ball every year.
What was your point on the Minneapolis piece?
My comment and point could be taken on the immigration thing. And you said they're operating, this is what made me call in. You said they're operating outside of the border. First of all, these are custom
and border patrol.
Right. This is correct. Now, what you have to
my understanding is that they're not supposed to be operating more than 100 miles from the border. Minneapolis is 300 miles from the Canadian border,
Where did
and
you
I'm
get
sure
that information from?
at least
I gotta show you something.
at least 1,400 miles.
Man, you getting worse than Michelle. You trying to prove me wrong, and I'm just trying to get a point. Then you can attack the point.
Good observation. I am.
You can attack the point. You can attack my point after I make it.
Okay. All right.
You can attack it. It's up for QT.
Okay. Go on. Make your point so I can attack it.
Okay. The thing is this here, man, is that in 1930, this is the third time that the Spanish-speaking people have tried this, and it's a very severity thing. In the 1930s, this is lightweight. They went in and drug them out, dude. They was going in places, getting them, grabbing them, taking them out. And guess what? If you did what we doing right now, standing up with this foul protest thing about this, you were deemed as treason. See, let me explain something to you. You can milkshake this country. You can milkshake this country, and there won't be a Negro as me and you know him right now in 50 years. They won't exist. So, and this is a planned design, the same way that crime bill was designed. So what I want you to understand is this right here. Operating outside the board, and when people stand up in the front of them people and try to take them on, you are challenging the United States government. It's sort of like catching a Fed case. It ain't going to be like Meach versus the state of Wisconsin sending me to Wall Pond. No, you do a federal case, and it's you versus the United States who just went to a country, kidnapped a man, blindfolded, brought him back without a shot being fired, and brought him back to this country.
Meach, where you going with this, bro?
Where I'm going with this is that immigration customs has to be reinforced no matter where it's at. Well, and when you get in the face of these people, you're challenging basically a small army.
All right.
Those people are army people, man.
Okay.
And most of them, by the way, are Hispanic-speaking people. So they probably even have no problem with shooting that white girl or that white boy in the face. Right. I'd like to see the faces of those guys that actually pull the trigger. Most of them are Hispanic people that operate around
one guy, I know his last name is Ross. He was not Hispanic. That shot.
Was he black? Was he white? That did the shooting?
Yes, that shot Miss Good. Yes.
Now, was he a European Mexican? Was he a
European Mexican man?
Huh?
All right, man. Appreciate you. Let me. I got you. How can you be a European Mexican? Well, no, but before we get to what difference, I'm trying to figure out how you can be a European Mexican.
Just like when somebody asked me where I'm from, where I'm born at, I said Milwaukee, Louisiana.
All right, let me read something from the ACLU. The Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protects people from random and arbitrary stops and searches. Although the federal government claims the power to conduct certain kinds of warrantless stops within 100 miles of the U.S. border, important Fourth Amendment protections arise. So, they should not be operating more than 100 miles from the border, 100 air miles from the border. Again, 300 miles to the Canadian border, at least 1,200 miles from the Mexican border. All right? Okay. All right. Just, it, and then they're doing warrantless searches. There's a whole lot. And so we need to be mindful that if you can justify suspending people's constitutional rights to one group, sooner or later that will then be extended to other groups. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning. Hello.
Keith. I just want to say yesterday, and then you wonder why that guy called in yesterday that you fussed at, that you tried to check like he was a little boy about Meach. That's why he did that, Keith. Because of the nonsense. Now, you're right. He could call anytime he wants to, but that don't tire you out. You can't tell me that don't tire you out.
It doesn't.
It tires us listeners out. So, it's just like the dude. I don't even know what to say about Meach no more. I done ran out of words to say about that dude, man. He just, I don't even know what to say, man. That dude cannot stay on point. The stuff you're talking about, you can't tell me he ain't watched that video. He know that guy. He know that guy was white. Come on, man. And also, the guy that probably shot that other white dude was white. Come on, man. Stop playing Meach. Like Michelle said, you tie yourself up in knots to defend these people. It's ridiculous. And I can't. Tyrone W., what's wrong with y'all? Will Martin, what's wrong with y'all? What's the other brother that used to come on Channel 10 with the white boy? What's his name? I cannot think of his name. He used to have a show that came on there, and he helped college kids. What's his name?
I don't know. But I guess the point is,
it's just ridiculous.
But George,
what's wrong with these
George,
brothers?
and I'm going to say this as gently as I can. There might be some people, and I don't know, I'm saying I might listen to the word, that might have a problem when you called in. My guy who called in talked about Meech yesterday called in 3 times. So, I mean, I'm just saying that if I might not like
it was the way you handled him. That's what I'm talking about. It was the way you handled that brother yesterday. You talked to him like he was a little kid. No. Don't be talking about Meech. Don't you dare. I mean, Keith, you just like, I'm like, what's wrong with you?
No. What I went after him for was when he got personal about Meech. Not what Meech was saying.
Meech just got personal with Al. Meech got get personal with me.
I checked Meech on being personal with Al.
Keith don't take up on me like that when Meech talk about me like that. I wish he talked up on me like that.
Okay, man. All right.
Meech called me punks and everything else on the radio. I ain't hear Keith defend me.
Usually we shut it down.
No, you didn't shut it down.
Okay, but my bad.
So what I'm saying is, Keith, you know, people get tired of that nonsense, man. I don't know why y'all don't understand it. Yes, he has the right to call the show, but man, people get fed up with that. And I'm just gonna say this one more time. You brothers, I hope y'all happy about what y'all done let in this White House because of a black woman. Your feelings was hurt. Keith, there's something wrong with us brothers, man. And if we better figure it out real quick, because look at the damage this man done did. And we think it's funny. I don't think we're taking it serious yet.
Okay.
About all the damage that this white man and these people done did.
Well, let me say this. White people elected Donald Trump, not black people.
No, we helped. And we got to stop playing maybe not black women.
In some areas.
So us brothers help too.
In some areas.
Now, the majority of brothers that might have, but every little bit helps, Keith.
I got that, but George, and again, I'll play devil's advocate.
Keith, I'm going to say this to you, man.
Okay.
And I don't know if because you like to push back against me. Oh, George, it don't make no sense of 10%. Every little bit helps.
But George, everybody ain't down with what you down for, man. And they don't have to be. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Well,
and we'll deal with the consequences.
I'm gonna tell you something, Keith. Buckle up there.
I got all I'm saying is that if 90% of the people are down, that's a huge number. You know, and in certain areas it makes a difference, but it wasn't the 10%.
Across the country, Keith, who's doing most of that marching across the country?
White folks.
Okay, so like you said, it was white folks that put it. So now they got.
It was white folks who's doing most of the marching doing George Floyd.
The Hispanic males, the 20% of the brothers that still ain't changed their ways of voting for him, said they will still vote for him again. So that's all I just called into the show to say, Keith. It gets, just like he came on screaming about Al. Al's over the top, yeah, and it's hard to listen to Al sometimes. But I think Al makes more sense than Meech does.
Okay.
Now I wish Al would tone it down a little bit. He's so over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Peers be listening to the show sometimes. Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing I would say with Al, tone it down a little bit, brother. Right. It ain't, but other than that, we better get ready. This country, look how they win the phone country yesterday. This dude's still talking about he got cheated in 2016. This is some Gestapo stuff, man. And if this is some Hitler stuff that we got going on, and how we gonna put the genie back in the bottle? Because they trying everything that they can to take. You think they was bad about trying to take voting rights away before? Man, they serious, Keith, and they are going to try and keep this man in power. When the last time you heard about a boat being blown up?
3 days ago.
Oh, so you heard something I ain't seen, because I ain't seen no boat. I ain't seen it on the news.
And then I don't know if it was this boat, but then the families of those people on the voters suing the U.S. right now.
And so that's all. I'm sorry I got a little bit heat. Excuse me, but it's just like, man, that.
All right.
That's why I ain't really been calling the show no more. I just been really listening.
All right.
And is Debo there?
No, he stepped away.
Oh, yeah, because every curious minds want to know what him and Jackie doing with them keys.
Hey, I'm wondering too, Doc.
Let me do my disclaimer.
Bye, Keith.
All right, man. Let me do my disclaimer. Stay out of everybody else's bedroom. Caller, welcome to the program. Right. Yeah, you got a video coming out. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning,
my brother.
What's happening?
I know you better take them barbecue girls off them front porches.
Huh?
You better take them barbecue girls off them front porches.
Man.
I gotta take mine.
Hey, you better take them off, man, because that is a fire. That is a fire hazard. You better,
wait a minute. Some of the people in the studio is going, oh, I need to go home and move mine.
better move my barbecue. Hey, I thought about you this weekend.
I was thinking about doing that. I guess I won't now. Citizens arrest! Citizens arrest!
Citizens arrest! Hey! Now everybody looking at somebody's porch suspect. Hey, look at Sheriff. Girl got hers on hers.
They calling the crime tip line. Hey,
everybody.
You know this dude Keith in my neighborhood got a full like kettle grill on his front porch.
Hey, he got the whole smoker on that joint.
Oh my God! I didn't even know that was a violation. I guess I know now.
It is. Especially apartment buildings. You can't barbecue apartment buildings, man, and on porches because it's gonna fire. What you gonna do?
But you know what? If you go like downtown, right, Third Ward, they have these balconies, and people have their little grills right out there on the balcony.
And it's even more dangerous with that propane.
Huh?
It's even more dangerous with that propane.
I don't even mess with that anymore.
I never mess with it because that's outside.
We had a family reunion and we got one of those big deep fryers to do a catfish fry. Man, and as soon as it was over, I took it right over to my neighbor. I gave him the fryer, gave him everything, and the propane.
No, you supposed to keep that, man. That's for the deep fried turkey, man.
Man, no, because y'all be going like, what happened to Keith? Out there messing with that propane and it blew up.
Hey, on the porch with that grill.
Right. And you know what? This is real talk, though. This is real talk. Back in the day, there was a guy when I coached at Our Avenue, this guy, and he had decided, it was Thanksgiving, that he was going to grill. You know how you had those duplexes? So he was in the hallway, I guess, of the going upstairs, and when he decided to light the grill, it blew up on him. Yeah, dude had some serious burns. Yeah.
Hey, I remember when that dude, the ex-police officer, tried to get that insurance claim at his bar over there.
I was laughing at you.
He set that thing up, trying to walk out. Man, that thing blew him back in.
Blew right up on him, man. My mama said some folks can't do wrong right. And then the dude was witnessing, came out. He said he still had the gloves on. And then, this happened, and we were at was it 2 years ago? We were at a automatic forum. I'm trying to think where we were. Oh man, were we at Parklawn? I think we were at Parklawn. And so I was one of the moderators. Meech was there. And the guy talked about this explosion that happened on Saturday back in the day. What it was that there was a couple. They were getting a divorce, obviously a very contentious divorce. The judge had then ordered that he be out the house by midnight on a Friday. It was midnight on a Friday. So what he did was, if I can't have it, everybody gonna die. So she's coming to the house. he let gas fill up in the house because he gonna blow her and him up when she get in the house. He lit a cigarette.
He forgot. He forgot. What a,
I know, and blew up, and then to the point I heard the explosion. It was one of the few Saturdays I worked overtime, and we lived on 46th Street. And I remember hearing this explosion. What was it? So then you hear the kids who witnessed it saying, "Yeah, man, it blew the couch out up in the tree." This dude, it was, man, but yeah, he was trying to blow him and her up, ended up blowing him up.
Hey, what they said cigarettes don't kill you.
They said what?
They said cigarettes don't kill you.
Oh man,
more than another way.
What is it? Another Newport related death?
It's three ways. You're gonna die from the tobacco cancer. You're gonna die blowing yourself up. And definitely, it's definitely the last.
Well,
one.
let me.
Wait, Keith, you got to hear the last one.
Okay.
You might freeze to death because you're outside trying to smoke it.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. About I don't know if you've ever smoked Newports.
No, I don't never smoke cigarettes.
Oh, okay, well let me tell you. When you hear that, Newports are, they are addictive.
I heard they like the top notch.
Man, they are addictive. I know. I smoked Newports for over 35 years. And I'm gonna tell you, man, Newports will have you get up on a sub-zero day. Newports don't play. Newports are, and the crazy thing is, and I don't know how, if you're a tobacco smoker, I just had a dream last night that I was talking to this dude, and he gave me a Newport, and I started to get ready to smoke it. I go, oh no, man, I can't smoke this.
You was having a flashback.
Yeah, I right. You know, I'm just saying. And so look, I have sympathy for people who deal with that, because I don't know if anyone's ever tried to quit smoking, but quitting smoking is like trying to quit heroin. I mean, I'm just saying medically, because you go through the withdrawals. I think Kwaku has talked about it on his program. So yeah, I have a lot of sympathy for people who, man, you know, I now, am I mad at myself for ever smoking? Because in high school and college, I didn't even smoke. You couldn't get me to smoke a cigarette, you know. And then I was working. After I graduated from college, I went back to work as a recruitment specialist, and my boss, we would travel. And this dude, you remember those, what do they call, parliaments? He could smoke 3 packs of parliaments, man, in a day. Yeah, in a day. And I just picked up the habit. And, you know, next thing I know, because I started smoking, it was Benson and Hedges, and I was working at our Avenue Playground, and I'm not going to tell you what the dudes on the playground called that cigarette, but and they put a Newport in my hand, and the rest is history. Hello? Oh, all right. No callers? Okay. All right. You're listening to Community Voice. The phone line's open, 414-444-5250. 414-444-5250. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Caller, welcome to the program.
Let's start by having
Good morning. Hello.
Morning.
Hey, what's happening?
Hey man, I called to say I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that Meek say, but I like to hear him call. So
Okay.
So everybody be ragging on him. Everybody ain't got to agree with what everybody say. Everybody can have their own opinion, whether it's right, wrong, upside down, whatever. I like to hear what he say. And as a matter of fact, when he had, and I'm probably on the younger side of your listening audience. When Meeks had his show, people that's my age that never listen to talk radio in their life, I had them listening to Meeks because whether you like what he say or not, he gonna get the conversation kicked off.
Oh man, real talk. Real talk.
So I'm in my early. So that show was a couple years ago. So I might have been, I don't know, late 30s, early 40s. I had a lot of my friends like, man, listen to this show. It's cracking, and I had plenty of people listening to the show. So I ain't got to agree with him. Whether you, I don't know. I like to hear him call. I like to hear everybody call. I don't agree with everybody. Some people I do agree with, but just to hear the back and forth is what make it entertaining.
Yep. All right. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Parris.
Morning,
I'm welcome to you, brothers. Yes, sir. No, this is just my opinion, and I think that I have been deemed at one instance or for some period of time as persona non grata with regard to calling into various talk shows. So I'm not going to be the one to attempt to silence whoever or whomever, and because when a person speaks, they are expressing their thoughts, and whether they are the hidden thoughts or they are their literal thoughts. When you allow them to talk, that's called revelation, and that's how you learn about who you are dealing with. So that when you hear that or hear this particular expression, your memory bank should remind you that this is something that I'm not aligned with. Therefore, whether I agree or not, I will not be in ranks with this person or that person. So I think that, at least for me, I know the ranks that I belong to, and that I know my general orders. So I don't care about who calls. When I'm calling, I'm speaking primarily to our people, not to a particular person. The Bible says that God is not a respecter of persons. So it matters not to me. Whoever calls, keep calling. Keep hope alive. More power to you. And thank you for taking my call.
I appreciate you. I was watching a reel yesterday, and I did not know this. And okay. I was watching a reel, and Minister Louis Farrakhan, and this is an older reel, so this would have been back. I'm thinking probably not too long ago. He was talking about his grandson, Mustafa Farrakhan Jr. And I didn't know this. He played ball at the University of Virginia. He played there from 2007 to 2011. And Minister Farrakhan was really lamenting how good his grandson was, and he has another grandson that's playing right now, how good he was, and he talked about how it was the impact of being named Farrakhan and how that impacted negatively on his career. He I don't know who the coach was prior to Tony Bennett going to the University of Virginia, but he played at the University of Virginia, played there 4 years. I I think his senior year, he was captain of the team. And then he played professionally for 5. I think he was in the G League, D League. But I didn't know that. And now Minister Farrakhan has another grandson who is playing at Hampton, Noah Farrakhan. Wow, so I didn't know that was like, wow. I didn't know. But anyway, Noah Farrakhan, he's playing at Hampton, 6'1". He's a graduate student. He's from Newark, New Jersey. So okay. And he's averaging about 14 a game. Yeah, actually not bad. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. And I think this is, I don't know if this is his daughter's son. Yep. But yeah. Wow. I did not know that. That was, but I can truly understand certainly him, how difficult it would be for him to, certainly the NBA, if that is the case, where's his name? Because some of the NBA team owners are Jewish, so I know there was interesting. But okay, wow, small world. You know, you get out there, you find out these things about people, and you didn't know. Comes a time when you have to decide if the person is giving an uninformed opinion or is spreading propaganda with the intent of misleading to advance evil. Okay. I'm going to say this one more time. First of all, everybody that listen to my program, excuse my French, are grown-ass people. If you can't discern what is nonsense and what is real, okay. But I know that most people are able to do that. So this is the marketplace of ideas and thoughts, and people might put things out there certainly that not. Now we have a responsibility as hosts to, if we can, factually correct the record when people are trying to say certain things are fact when in fact they are not. And if Meech would have listened, he, I think the point that Al was making is that was the dilemma that we found ourselves in the 90s, right? Everybody remember how crazy the 90s was. I mean, it was crazy. It was nuts, okay? And there was a lot of factors that went into it. Of course, the CIA brought in drugs. Of course, they made guns more available. Of course, all those things were happening out there. But then there's another school of thought is, what about, does the person have a responsibility to make different choices? That's just a school of thought, whether you subscribe to it or not. That comes down to that people were poor, but many poor people didn't decide to sell drugs in order to eat. But I understand that part of the motivation for many people selling drugs, certainly at street level, was to eat, right? So what do? And then because sometimes we get in, and that's why you hear me say it, you hear Michelle say it, we have to be careful how we talk about a problem, right? Because we can talk about a problem in such a way that people then use the words that we spoke then to justify a policy, okay? People who were living in Baltimore, certain DC was the murder capital. People living in DC and Southeast and Northwest would sit up and tell you, man, their neighborhoods were war zones. How do you resolve that? Obviously, they're not going to do the heavy lifting to deal with the systemic reasons that lead to a lot of this behavior. So then what do? Well, the easy alternative is to lock people up. There's the disparate impact. The good intent of the law was we need to deal with criminals, right? So then you get the 3 strikes, the 3-strike rule. And then people who unwillingly got caught up. So I might have had 2 very serious crimes, and then I have a not so serious crime, and now I'm looking at life in prison. Oh, that's wrong. There's no question. But again, I would suggest people read James Foreman's book, Locking Up Our Own. I'm sorry, that's the name of the book. Because in some way, and I don't even think that people were part of some diabolical plot. I'm talking about black people to hurt other black people. I think they were looking for a solution to a situation that we had. And that's the other problem. You shouldn't make decisions when you're at an emotional state. Because when you're in an emotional state, you tend to make errors. You need to be as clear thinking as possible. Don't lead by your passions. There's times that I've been led by my passions, and that leads you into trouble. So, yeah, I think, but then to even tie Hillary Clinton to the crime bill when Hillary Clinton wasn't even in the Senate, her husband was president, she was first lady, right? And then, she repeated something, and that's unfortunate because, there's this thing called video, and she talked about certain people. What were they, super criminals or whatever she had described them as? But there were a lot of black folks also describing folks. And so I'd say this to all of us, that sometimes we need to be careful. Be angry, but sin not. Don't sin talking about the sin. That's what we found out about the dress, if the dress was a sin. I don't think the dress was a sin. So and then people talk about what our kids are exposed to, but our kids are also exposed to sometimes the level of disrespect we have for each other. What does that send, and what message does that send to the kids? Caller, welcome to the program. They hung up? Oh, sorry. All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Okay, brother, I heard you bring the name. Now listen to this here about this crime bill. I'm gonna say this again, and I've said it redundantly, and a lot of people on this morning. But listen to this. The crime bill was not just some man that came in the office and said we can line them all up. This was prepared to be done. First of all, the Reagan years, they came in and deemed drug and alcoholism as an incurable disease because NA said once an addict, always an addict, and it was deemed as an incurable disease. So all the addicts were lined up, and alcoholics were receiving SSI. Okay, they were receiving it all over the country. And I don't know if it was a means of washing up the money through the government, but whatever it was, all of those things and alcoholics were eligible for this doggone benefit. Okay, disabled. It was deemed disabled. What does that have to do?
I need you to stay on point. What does that have to do with the crime bill?
Yeah, I'm going to show you. I'm setting it up for you, Doc.
Don't set it up. Just tell me what it has to do with the crime bill.
Okay, because Bill Clinton came along and wiped that all out and said, we got long-term treatment for them. We're getting rid of all of the addicts and all of that stuff. I mean, all of these benefits for the addicts. So now you got a bunch of dope things with no money in the street reaping havoc. Hold on. Well, along with the crime bill in 1994, when Joe Biden walked the floor all night, said we got to lock them SOBs up. You can find that right now. Donald Trump ain't the first one called Negroes or what they would call degenerate SOBs that Joe Biden did. So hold on. Watch this here. You get even deeper than that. Because now after we lock up all the babies, first of all, we gotta fool the public into getting rid of alcohol. We got rid of alcohol. Alcohol became like a menace to society. You couldn't even open up a liquor store, a liquor store, and that's still working today in our black community. Now watch this here. Now after they get rid of that and they set the law in effect, now we got to do something with the babies. We got to do something with the babies. So now your social services going on rampage. Then about 98, they created the CHIPS law, which falls right into the same deal under the law crime. I mean, under this crime bill. All of that works hand in hand, brother. It's not that some man just woke up one day and said, we're going to lock them up. No, there was a road to this, and it's still going today. And I don't know why we talking about it like it was yesterday and it ain't no more. It's happening right now. And guess what? White folks have found themselves in the trap. In 1990, about 93 and 94, you couldn't find a white boy in no federal penitentiary that was locked up for crack. Not no cook.
Let me, hey Meech, let me, because I appreciate, and again, that's the disparate impact of that crime bill. But let me do this. Now, this is taken from the Brookings Institute, which is a conservative think tank. And it talks about Karen Bass, and she was in the Congressional Black Caucus. She was the chair. And so Representative Bass is right. According to a 1994 Gallup survey, 58% of African Americans supported the crime bill compared to 49% of white Americans. Most black mayors who were grappling with a record wave of violent crime did so as well. As he joined the delegation of mayors and lobbying Congress to back the bill, Baltimore Mayor Kurt L. Schmoke.
No, right there. I need you to look at something right there. You see where it says they had to lobby Congress. See, let me explain something to you. This is why we are off. This is why
what
we're
are you explaining to me, man? What are you explaining?
I'm explaining that this is the reason why we're the highest disparity of all categories, because that black Congress, that black caucus that we have in Washington, D.C., this is the way that they launder their money back to the states and get it. So
okay,
sure, she said.
all right, you got off point. You got off point. Appreciate you, man. No, you got off point.
Man, you tricking the people, man.
No, I'm not. I'm just reading. So in a recent interview,
I got that part.
What part did you get?
The part that the blacks were just as.
And then this is surprising to me. If that Gallup poll is to be trusted, you had more black people who wanted to see the crime bill happen than white people.
Listen, how many black people want to take that shot after reviewing things? See, all you got to do is sell it to the black caucus. The black caucus is going to come back and sell it to us.
Well, not all of the black caucus is with it. It divided the black caucus. I'm just saying, but her point was, who's now the mayor of L.A., right? She was making the argument that poll. So when people, I think, it was easy. Appreciate you, Meech. It was easy for people, but look, there were Republicans who that was solidly a position, but then and even in the Brookings, they then cite Mr. Foreman's book. James Foreman Jr. wrote in his much cited 2017 book, Locking Up Our Own. At the height of the crack epidemic, black political and civic leaders often compared crack to the greatest evil that African Americans had ever suffered. Writing 20 years earlier, another prominent African-American scholar, Harvard law professor Randall Kennedy, who kind of skews conservative, argued that blacks have suffered more from being left unprotected or underprotected by law enforcement authorities than from being mistreated as suspects or defendants. I don't agree with that. Unprotected or underprotected are interesting and important choices of words to which we'll return, which we're probably the most policed group, us and brown folks, in terms of the folks in our community. So, but no, I thought that was interesting in terms of this. And one of the things that I heard a person who kind of writes about this is that your crime rate is directly related to the population of people who are like 16 to 25, right? If you see a decrease in that population, you're going to see a decrease in crime. Now, again, I don't know how they come to that in terms of algorithm, but that's what you have. And I don't know if anybody noticed that crime is dropping all over the country. Now, dropping doesn't mean crime doesn't exist. Crime still exists. Violent crimes are dropping. Milwaukee was kind of unusual because it had an uptick in its homicide rate, but in other places, the homicide rates are down, right? So, but then what drives a lot of this, and it's easy then to come up with a quick solution, let's do a bill and just lock them up, as opposed to dealing with, again, the systemic things that contribute to certain behavior we see in certain communities. Got a caller? Oh, okay, all right. Hey, you're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Community Voice. We got a few minutes left in the program. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Someone texted me and wanted to know, was Meech AI generated? Let me also just kind of, because there was a combination of things. I think a lot of times we get into, especially when we're trying to look back at something, and we might not always do the deep dive that we need to do to know the historical context of why something happened. There was also, and I think Meech alluded to this, the 1986 drug bill, right? And again, the Brookings Institute is a conservative think tank, and they, I think Brookings, yeah, and they made the argument that no, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm thinking the other group, but anyway, they said the combination of the crime bill and the bill that was enacted in 1986 under Ronald Reagan was this toxic combination. If they would have just had the crime bill without this drug bill that was already on the books, we probably would not have seen the devastating impact that we ended up seeing as it relates to those two bills and the impact it had on Black and brown. And I know there was that whole crack thing, the crack law, and Keon did some research, and Keon found out that not one white American was ever charged under the crack law, even though white folks use crack at the same frequency as Black folks. Okay. Because a lot of times it's not just the laws on the books, it's how those laws are enforced. So, we still have a marijuana felony law on the book, right? You can't make me believe that young Black dudes are smoking weed at a higher level than young white dudes in Brookfield or Wauwatosa, right? It's a question of then how is it enforced? And if you then want to be part of that thing that Meech is alluding to, then you can cite that, things that people do, because once they got you in the books, now you're in the books, right? And so then your life is very different. So I'm not disagreeing with Meech in terms of that there were sinister motivations, but I'm also saying that people took advantage of the situation than to put something in place that we're still feeling the residual effects from more than 32 years ago. And then when you look at the Reagan drug bill, that's 40 years ago. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Yes, sir, Mr. Parris. I'm calling back, and I shouldn't do this. But, well, this is what I think that should be taken into consideration as well. And I say big ups to you for mentioning the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's grandchildren, because he spoke on that, and he spoke about it with regard to how, because of his grandsons having his name,
right,
and those people will have to say that name every time if he scored or did something great.
Right.
It's just going to enhance their own hatred that they have generated from themselves.
But you know what else I picked up, Christopher? The real pain he was experiencing. I mean, that was because
namesake.
Right. He was going like, no, my grandkid is not me, right? He just happens to have my name. Okay. Right. And if you got a problem with me, have your problem with me, not with my grandson.
But that's never the situation.
I know. I'm just, I know what he was expressing. And like I said, it was such a human moment that, I was sitting there going like, oh man, I didn't know that. Cause I know one of my guys here, and I think is his son Mustafa, the brother that's always with him?
Yes, sir.
Right. And my guy here, they've been guys for years. And so he decided. Yeah, he talked. Yeah, so when I and that's why I caught my attention. I was going like, oh, I didn't know. And now I have to go back and then he really complimented Tony Bennett. He said because there was a Black coach before Tony Bennett, and who got fired, but he said Tony Bennett came in, embraced his son, and let his son flourish at UVA's program. So that
Yes,
was,
sir.
yeah.
And this is with that being said, here's the malfunction in the Holy Quran. There's a surah that is called the manifestation of defects, and what our problem. Oh, and this is how to preface it. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke on this at a national address that he gave about the scientific methodology of Willie Lynch, and how he said he had a foolproof method, if applied correctly, would have the slaves fighting amongst themselves from anywhere to 300 to 1,000 years. And the minister also said that I think we probably have gone past the 300 year time frame that Mr. Willie Lynch used with his scientific methodology with regard to our psyche and our psychology, with our differences and how he accentuated them, and he made us kill each other. And we have been cannibalizing one another from that point up until now. And what is the counter to Willie Lynch is the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because had it not been for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Black people would have never embraced their identity, because we are of the lost found, of the 13 houses of Israel. You understand where I'm coming from, sir?
No, I think I have to look at it a little bit more globally. I think that
we are the globe.
It was the organizations like the Nation of Islam, but
the forefront.
But there were also people like Noble Drew Ali.
Absolutely.
Right? That
those people who were never colonized.
No, what I'm saying is that all of us had our lanes. And I think we appreciate now, but what we also had going on in the 60s, certainly the late 50s and the 60s, when the Nation of Islam had really reached its apex, but there were other groups out there.
In the first term, you're speaking of, that's called the first term. We are in the fulfillment of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, whereas because of the work of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan with the resurrection of the Nation of Islam.
I got that. I hear you.
That shall not fail. Again, in about the 90s, I was a child, a youngster then, and I saw what happened. And that's when the magnification of us cannibalizing ourselves.
And let me say this also, in the 90s, that was
also
taking place. I appreciate you, man. That was also where Minister Farrakhan, Jim Brown, they actually sat down and had this gang summit. And I think that was before the Million Man March, and then the Million Man March was called. Before the Rodney King insurrection there in LA, gangs had Crips and Bloods had called a truce, and it was a binding truce. It was a binding truce. And then this happened, and then you get infiltrators. One brother was talking, he said, we was having a meeting, and we talking about, like, yeah, man, we need to figure out what we're going to do with the other gang. And you got this one dude, no, man, blank them, man. We need to da-da-da-da-da. Come to find out, he was a police collaborator. That he got up in the mist. So Christopher is right. If you can get in and destabilize a group, we were talking about the Black Panthers yesterday. It was the dude who, I can't even think of this brother's name, but the movie Judas and the Black Messiah is based on this dude who gave all the inside information on Sherman. Fred Hampton was complicit in them then going in and assassinating Fred Hampton. We've always had people like that, man. I wish everybody was righteous. Everybody was down for the cause. Sometimes people, it's just their human frailties. Other times it's intent. Like if you look at certain organizations on the outside, it looks cool. So somebody gets dissatisfied. And then they come out and they begin to share all the stuff that you didn't know was going on in that organization, right? And then there are people there, man, like I said, what's your price? What's your price? Because this dude wasn't even getting that much money. And then when it came out, the interview he did it for Eye on the Prize. I don't know if that was Eye on the Prize 2 or 3, but when they released it, the interview and let people know who he was, he committed suicide that day. So, yeah, man, I wish, the Black Panther Party had people infiltrating them. SCLC had people infiltrating them. The status quo is going to make sure that the status quo remains. And when the government comes down on you, they're coming down on you because it's about the status quo. Like COINTELPRO was used also to destabilize the Klan. Now people go, oh, they're white folks. Oh, but when the Klan is talking about doing something that's different than the status quo, bam. And somebody was talking yesterday, they were asking the question whether or not you could prosecute those Homeland Security officers who are responsible for the death of Ms. Good and Mr. Preddy. And the answer was yes. And then the example they gave was Ruby Ridge. I don't know if people remember Ruby Ridge. Ruby Ridge was this white supremacist group. And because, they go after white militias sometimes when they're really focused. So they go up, 2 people were killed. I think they ended up killing his son. They end up suing the government. Now, the issue when they went after Ruby Ridge was because of illegal firearms. But Ruby Ridge became this rallying call for conservative whites, the militia movement, all those folks, the survivalists that moved to Idaho and Montana, and they set up all these survivalist camps. And the reality was that when you looked at a lot of the violence, the so-called political violence, it came from the right. Not to say there weren't people from the left, but primarily it came from the right. So you have people out there who and I don't want to use the word complicated. And the only reason if I do use this word is because I don't have a word that I think can adequately describe some of the stuff. But if you ever study history, if you ever study politics, you will find that there's certain streams, and one of the streams is the status quo. People in power don't want to give up that power. People in positions don't want to give up that position. Now, you can look at it on this macro level, government, but look at your churches and look at leadership. Look at some of the other organizations where you have people, they're not going to give up that position no matter what. That was kind of the conversation we were having yesterday when we were talking about, do you get too old to lead? Is there a time? But you got people, part of you can't get in the way of folks, because once they've gotten in, they like the comfort of being in charge, whether that job is passed them by or not. Because one of the things I was going to preach about it Sunday, but we canceled church. The attractiveness of power. Power can be intoxicating, and people are attracted to power, and people will give up any sense of character and integrity just to be either around power or to have power. And then when you have Plato always talked about in the Republic, he talked about the enlightened despot, right? And what the enlightened despot is supposed to do, because this is absence of what we call modern democracy, is always having the good of the people in the forefront. It's always about the good of the people. Most people will start off working for the good of the people, but here's what happens. Then you start getting a little taste of power, right? My good friend Bill Bergstrom, the late Bill Bergstrom, used to say, Keith, you know what? We live in a world now where luxuries become necessity, right? You like living a certain lifestyle. That's why when I'm 21, I can be down for the revolution, because I ain't got nothing to lose. Now you got property. You got a stake in that. How much I'm going to be willing to walk away from what I've worked hard for, invested in, and now I'm going to go for a cause because this cause is greater than my comfort. And I think I alluded to that, in my opening thought, that sometimes that we'll do it for comfort. Like I'm not. And as I was driving last night, I was telling Michelle I did get a chance to go down to the rally that they had against ICE. It was a lot of people, man. It was a lot of people. And I kept thinking, for people to be out in, single digit weather to march, to protest, it shows a certain, I'm going to use this word, like sometimes certain level of anger with what people see, anger to the point that you will put your own comfort aside because of the rightness of what you do. You have to admire people who get out for it. And I didn't see a lot of black folks. And that's a conversation, we'll probably have. Because even when Meach was talking about George Floyd, the reality is the majority of people out there marching were white folks. Okay, let's not lose sight on that. It was black folks out there. You had Black Lives Matters and others. But when I was going up and I was doing my Keith Parris Cup report at WNOV 860, I would see, and the majority of folks I saw a march on Lake Drive. It was white. The march that went to Wauwatosa, there were black folks there, when they got to 68 North, and that turned into something. But the majority of people marching were white. Now, good. Because it's not a question, it should not be a question of complexion. It should be a question of justice. And those folks were angry enough. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, I don't know if you believe in God, but sometimes, and I try not to be overly superstitious with this, but every now and then you have a God moment. COVID, George Floyd, because of the lockdown, we were forced to watch George Floyd, right? This past weekend, we were forced to watch Mr. Preddy being assassinated, right? Because of the weather. And everybody if you had power, there were people, man, and I'm still tripping on people who still don't have power. And look, I understand that was a devastating ice storm. It just because I don't know if you all remember when we had the windstorm here, and we lost power for 3 days. But thank you, Jesus, it was in August. You can deal with that heat a little bit better than when you're in the crib and you ain't got no heat. That's a whole totally different thing. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and they were saying that they got the power back, but they still don't have internet. So, yeah. Anyway, how we doing here? Oh man, we can rate. Let me hold on. I got a couple of Texases. Oh, okay. Call. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Yeah, Keith. This is Derek.
Hey, Derek.
And are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. And the reason for the call is that I keep on talking about Willie Lynch. There was never any Willie Lynch at all. And you can look at the writing, and there was the 17th century. They did not talk that way at all.
Yeah, that has always been. I think that people kind of back and said it was a theory. The first time I heard of the Willie Lynch letter was at the Million Man March.
Yes,
but historians have gone in and just who have said that probably it wasn't written then and Willie Lynch didn't exist. Now, that's based on some historians. There's another group of people say no, it's authentic. So.
No, it's not authentic there because this guy, Carl Nelson, he's at 1450 a.m. Well, he had the guy on who wrote the letter. And the guy's out of Virginia.
Okay.
And he was saying that you can look at even how things were written, how people spoke during that time period of the 17th century and how the letter was written. Mm-hmm. It has so many things that you can look at how things were written.
Right.
So the letter never existed at all. And I know what they're saying, but the letter never existed at all.
Okay.
And that's just the bottom line. I mean, you can look at the writing, how people spoke, and how they talked and how they wrote.
Right.
They can do it themselves. And linguistics, people that study languages, said the same thing. And
but what I won't take issue with is it was spot on in terms of describing how certain things happen and how groups are pitted against each other. That he was spot on.
Yeah, but that was but as far as the letter and how the kind of things, but same thing could be said for one time I went to the DC thing. They were talking about this whole race thing because there was a guy from another country, and they were talking about Bacon's Rebellion. That's really what started the race thing in this country, Bacon's Rebellion.
Right, and that's when they enacted the slave codes in the colonies. Is that about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they said the blacks and the whites were getting together, and they said,
right.
"Okay, we'll teach the blacks." Well, the whites say we're better than the blacks. Well, they'll make them
not much
kind of slavery.
Not much, but then I think that's where we got the sentiment, and certainly for poor whites, we were having this sociological argument yesterday. There was a group I was watching, this white church, and they were getting down. Okay, I got to go. Okay, I got to go. All right. Hey, man, let me go. I got to go. We're up against time. Appreciate you, and thank you for that. Hey, let me thank Alderwoman Milele Coggs, again, the Milwaukee Business Now Entrepreneurship Summit will be Saturday, January 31st, 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the Martin Luther King Elementary School. Thank you, Clark. Thank you, Jermaine.
Indeed.
Thank you, Debo. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Lottie. Thank you, Dottie. The good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.